Hi, my name is Lars. I'm a teacher at Copenhagen School of Design and Technology, and I'm shooting this video to introduce you to my elective program running in January 2023 and again in August 2023 with international students. So it's called SaaS Product Development, SaaS as in software as a service. It's a full semester, so it's 30 ECTS points. If you're joining this program, then you won't be joining any other program. This is a full-time job. We will be accepting students from 3 different student programs. So business developers, UX designers, and graphical designers, whatever people coming from design, and software developers. And we will also be joining with external sponsors, product sponsors. We have found, exquisite product sponsors. You'll be working in teams of 6 people, at least. SaaS, software as a service. What is it? Maybe you know, maybe you don't. Well, you know probably SaaS products as, Facebook and Figma and Canva and Netflix. These are examples of SaaS products, but sometimes it's just, also just, an app or something like a piece of software provided to you as a service. You might be paying for it, you might not, but they have some very interesting characteristics. Typically, they have relatively low intellectual property, which means that they can easily be copied by your competitors, which is why you need to move fast. You need to move fast in order to find your market fit so that you can conquer the market and basically try to protect your product simply by onboarding users relatively fast. You need to steer towards exactly what it is the users want, and for that you don't ask them questions. What you do is that you measure on their behavior. So typically SaaS products will have to be able to provide a lot of data about end user behavior, and you need to prioritize very strongly. Users, they would want all kinds of funny stuff, and some of it is actually not very necessary. So you'll need to steer towards which of these assumptions are actually something that should be built into the product. So we'll be working in an agile manner, not necessarily Scrum, but it could be Kanban, lean product software development, technologies like that. You'll learn it if you don't know it already, and if you know it already, you'll become really, really good at it. So as I mentioned, we have a product sponsor. They have a real need. They have a market. They have an identified customer segment. We have been curating and interviewing a lot of these product sponsors. Typically, they're small startups. Some of these product sponsors are quite experienced. They have been starting startups before, or they have been developing products before. So they'll be coming in as old timers, kind of, in your team. You will be joining in a specific role identified by the student program that you come from and represent. So if you are, come from business or analytics or something like that, you'll be assuming a product development market fit kind of role. That will be your responsibility. If you come from software development, you'll be responsible obviously for software development, but also technology fit and stuff like that. If you come from product design, or if you're a UXer or a graphical designer, you'll come being responsible for essentially creating a delicious product, right? You'll be joining into a group together with your product sponsor and working throughout the entire semester, producing a real product that will be put into the hands of the end users. But you don't have much time. Right, so everyone is going to be on a stretch here because we'll be working on products that can be put into the hands of the users relatively fast, so we can measure on their behavior. Which means that already, halfway through this program, we'll have to have software in the hands of the end users, so we can elicit data and steer towards their behavior. For being able to produce software this fast, we need to do some tricks. We'll be working with no-code tools, low-code tools, automating a lot of stuff, seeing what's out there that can be reused. So we'll be exploring a lot of these technologies that are essentially the stuff that minimum viable products and prototypes are made of. It's going to be real fun. It's going to take place in Copenhagen. We have a dedicated classroom for this purpose, and we will organize that not as a classroom, but more like a co-work space. So we'll be working like small startups in the same room, inspiring each other. I've come up with a concept that I call Thank God It's Monday, and obviously it's inspired by Google's Thank God It's Friday. You know, at Google, they have all Fridays they work on their own projects. What we'll be doing is that we'll be working with the projects of our sponsors, but on Mondays, thank God, we will be working on acquiring more skills, reflecting on our learnings throughout the entire week. We'll be working with what we call the flipped classroom. So I will not, and my co-teachers will not be standing there lecturing you. We will not be teaching. You will be learning. We will facilitate your learning through what we have identified as a community of practice. This is not something we came up with. It's a didactic approach to problem-solved learning. But I will help facilitate this community of practice. My background is software developer. I've been doing software development for 25 years, and I've just recently become a teacher here at KEA. So we'll basically be running hackathons, workshops, conferences, stuff like that. This will be your main source of input and learning, and I'll help you facilitate all of that to produce SaaS products. The deliverable that you will be creating throughout this is essentially a work log, continuously working the issues in your agile team and locking your work so that it can be shared in an asynchronous and distributed team. Remember that maybe your product sponsor is not actually at the school with you. They might be out there, you might be seeing them, but you will also be sharing some of your knowledge with the community of practice and your colleague students, which means that we need to have a quite well maintained work log in order to be able to share knowledge with each other. So this is part of it. This is how Agile team works. We also need a weekly summary brief that we can hand to our sponsors so that they can see what is the progress that's going on here. And these products, these deliverables, the work log and the summary brief, is essentially what is the product that you'll be examined in. You can say that you won't actually be evaluated whether or not your SaaS product becomes a huge success, but more like, you know, the process, the works and the learnings that you have had and the communication you have had with your professional sponsor. This is a team exam. Then there'll be an individual exam for each of you where you will be reflecting upon your individual role in the team. So if you come as a business developer, I mean, how did you assume that role? How did it go? If you come as a software developer, what was your task? How did you assume this role? So this is the oral individual examination. I come up with this as well. This is still in the making, so this is a draft. But conceptually what's happening is that we'll all be working together on the same track. So this is kind of the software development life cycle, you might say, over these, I don't know, 17, 18, 19 weeks. But depending on what role you have, you might assume different activities throughout these topics. So you should be able to say, if you're a business developer, you should see these topics and these skills. Yeah, I can see myself in that. And if you're a UX designer, you might be able to recognize yourself in that as well. But as I said, you will be assuming a role, and this is how you will be evaluated. Well, that's it. If you want to know more, I hope that you reach out to me and ask more questions. well, that's it. Reach out to me on my email or find me on social media. My handle is Lacruz on GitHub, on Twitter, on LinkedIn. So yeah, look for Lacruz. Reach out to me. I hope to see you in my elective. It's going to be really, really, really fun.